I need you to verify me with the last four-digit number of your social security.
You are connected to the Microsoft secured server.
Hi, Mom. My name is Grace. I'm calling you today because we have received an error report.
Have you ever received one of those phone calls saying your bank account has been compromised? Or maybe a pop-up suddenly appeared on your computer claiming it's infected with a virus? Well, if that's happened to you, you're definitely not alone. In fact, every year, millions of Americans lose money to scams, and unfortunately, seniors are often among the biggest targets. Now, the good news is that most scams follow very predictable patterns. And once you know what those patterns are, they're actually a lot easier to spot. So, let's start with one of the most common scams out there, the tech support scam. Maybe you're browsing the internet, everything seems normal, and then suddenly a scary message pops up saying your computer has been hacked or infected with a dangerous virus. The message usually tells you to call a phone number right away. Well, when you call, someone answers and pretends to be from Microsoft, Apple, or some other well-known company. They sound professional, they sound convincing, and they'll often ask for remote access to your computer. Once they get access, though, that's where the trouble begins. They might steal personal information, install harmful software, or even charge you hundreds of dollars to fix a problem that never existed in the first place. Another scam that's been around for years is the government impersonation scam. You get a call from someone claiming to be from the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, or another government agency. They'll often say something like, "You owe money," or "Your benefits are about to be suspended," or even "Legal action is being taken against you." And honestly, that's enough to make anyone nervous. But that's exactly what scammers are counting on. They want you to panic. They want you to act before you have time to think things through. Then there's the grandparent scam, and this one can be especially heartbreaking. Imagine receiving a call from someone who sounds distressed and claims to be your grandchild. Maybe they say they've been arrested, had an accident, or are stranded somewhere and desperately need money. The scammer will often add, "Please don't tell mom and dad," or "Don't tell anyone," and that's a huge red flag. Whenever someone asks you to keep a financial emergency secret, it's worth slowing down and verifying the story first. And of course, we can't forget romance scams. These scams often start on social media, dating websites, or messaging apps. The scammer spends weeks, sometimes even months, building trust and creating an emotional connection. Then, eventually, some kind of emergency appears. Maybe they need help with medical bills, travel expenses, or a business problem. The details change, but the goal stays exactly the same, getting access to your money. So, what can you actually do to protect yourself? Well, first and foremost, never let anyone pressure you into making a decision immediately. That's probably one of the most important rules. Scammers create urgency because urgency shuts down careful thinking. If somebody says you must act right now, that's your cue to slow down, not speed up. Second, never give remote access to your computer unless you personally contacted a trusted company for help. Third, never share passwords, banking information, or those one-time verification codes that get sent to your phone. Legitimate organizations generally don't call you out of the blue asking for that information. Another thing to remember is to be very cautious when someone asks for payment using gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. That's a favorite tactic among scammers because those payments are often difficult or impossible to recover. If someone insists on being paid that way, that's a major warning sign. And finally, before sending a large amount of money, especially when emotions are involved, take a moment to talk to a trusted family member, friend, or financial advisor. Sometimes just having another person look at the situation can reveal warning signs you might have missed. At the end of the day, scammers are constantly changing their stories, but they're really using the same old tricks. They rely on fear, urgency, secrecy, and emotion to push people into making decisions they normally wouldn't make. So, if there's one thing to remember from this video, it's this. Slow down, take your time, ask questions, verify before you trust. You don't need to be a technology expert to avoid scams. You just need to be willing to pause, think, and make sure the situation is legitimate before taking action. That simple habit could save you thousands of dollars and a whole lot of stress.